Good morning, students. We have learned that all living organisms, they are made up of the fundamental units called cell. Now, in unicellular organism, like a single cell perform all basic functions. For example, in amoeba, a single cell carries out movement, intake of food and respiration and excretion. All these life processes, they are carried out by a single cell. But in multicellular organisms, there are millions of cells, and most of these cells are specialized to carry out a few functions. Each specialized function is taken up by a different group of cells, and since these cells carry out only a particular function, they do it very efficiently. Like in human beings, muscle cells contract and relax to cause movement. Nerve cells, they carry messages to different parts of the body. Blood flows to transport oxygen, food, hormones, and waste materials, and so on. In plants, vascular tissues conduct food and water from one part of the plant to other parts. So, multicellular organisms show division of labor. Cells specializing in one function, they are often grouped together in the body. So, this means that a particular function is carried out by a cluster of cells at a definite place in the body. So now in this chapter we'll be discussing about the group of cells, that is tissues. Let's see what is a tissue. Tissue is a group of cells that work together to perform a particular function. And in simple organisms, all body functions, they are done by a single cell, as I've mentioned in the introduction of this chapter, like that of amoeba. But in complex organisms like in human beings and plants, different groups of cells, they perform different functions. So that means there is division of labor. As different group of cells or tissues are specialized in doing different jobs, any work is done much more efficiently compared to unicellular organism. Here specializing is there. And now let's see tissues. They are mainly classified into two types: plant tissues and animal tissues. So first of all, we'll begin with plant tissues. This is a chart which shows the classification of plant tissues. Like as you can see here, plant tissue, it is mainly divided into two groups: meristematic tissue or simple meristems and permanent tissue. Further, meristematic tissue is divided into three parts depending upon their location or position in the plant body: apical meristem, lateral meristem, and intercalary meristem. Whereas permanent tissue, they are of two types: simple and complex. If we see simple, then they are of again three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. And sclerenchyma, they are of two types: fibers and sclerites. We'll be discussing about these three in later part of the chapter. Then permanent tissue is again divided into the second part, that is complex permanent tissue, and this is of two types, as you can see here: xylem and phloem. You must be aware of these two terms, xylem and phloem. Xylem, these are responsible for conduction of water and minerals to different parts of the plant, whereas phloem, it helps in translocation of food. Further, xylem, they are of these types: tracheid, vessels, parenchyma, and xylem fibers. And sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers, these are the components of phloem. Meristematic tissue or simple meristems. Meristematic tissues, they are responsible for growth in plants. So that means here the cells, they are continuously dividing, and cells in these tissues, they divide and form new cells. But let me tell you one thing, that there is no differentiation of the cell in these type of tissues. Meristematic tissues, they are of three types, as I mentioned, based on their position or location in the plant body. First is apical meristem. They are present at the tip of stem and root, or you can say they are present at apex, root and shoot apex, and they are responsible for increasing the length of that part. And second is lateral meristem or cambium. They are present beneath bark, and it is responsible for growth in girth of or the thickness of the trunk. Then we have third type, intercalary meristem. They are present in nodes of leaves and stem. Okay, this chart shows the location of these three types of meristems. Meristematic tissue is divided into three parts depending upon their position: apical, intercalary, and lateral meristem. As we can see here, apical meristem, they are present on root and shoot tips. As you can see in this diagram here, this is a plant, and the part which lies underground, that is called the root, and the upper part is above the ground is called shoot. So here you can see the shoot apical meristem is present, and here root apical meristem. So the position of apical meristem is they are present in the root and the shoot tips, and they're responsible for growth of root and shoot. That means they increase the length of the plant. Second is intercalary meristem. They are present on leaf base and node, and responsible for growth of plants from leaf and nodes. As you can see in this diagram here, these parts, these are the intercalary meristem, and this is, as you can see here, these are the nodal parts from where these leaves they arise, or new branches they arise. So intercalary meristem, they are mainly responsible for growth of plant from nodes. And third is lateral meristem. Lateral meristem, as you can see here in this diagram, or see this diagram here, lateral meristem, this is actually present on outer side, or you can say this is present on side of the stem and the root, and they are responsible for increasing the diameter or the girth or the thickness of the stem and the root. So this chart shows the three types of meristems: apical, intercalary, and lateral meristem. Now let's see what are the different characteristics of meristematic tissue. First point is they are living and have thin wall. Yes, of course, they are living cells, they are continuously dividing, but they have very thin wall, because right now there is no differentiation of the cells. Means they are not divided to perform any specific function till now. Vacuoles are very few and small in size, or you can say they are almost absent, because vacuole, as you know, they are responsible for storing or reserving some material, but since they are continuously dividing, they don't require any vacuole here. But even if they are present, they are very small in size. Cell contains dense cytoplasm, and they are and conspicuous nucleus. That means a prominent nucleus is present there. Cells, they may be spherical, oval, or polygonal in shape. That means they don't have a definite shape. They may vary in shape. Means they have many sides. And they do not store reserve food materials, as I've mentioned earlier, and are in active state of metabolism. That means they are continuously dividing and giving rise to new cells. So students, please do remember that the cells which are present in this type of tissue, they are actively dividing and they are giving rise to new cells, which will be later transforming into the permanent, which we'll be discussing in later part of this chapter. So I hope you have understood today's topic. So today we discussed meristematic tissue. So this is all for today. Thank you.